What's up, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to the channel that gives you the realest and rawest updates on your Pittsburgh Steelers. No sugarcoating, no clickbait, just football news, the way it should be. And look, we all know this offseason has been a roller coaster, right? From trade rumors to quarterback chaos, from minicamp surprises to the Aaron Rodgers saga, this team is doing what the Steelers always do, searching for ways to improve. Every move, every meeting, every rumor is part of a front office obsessed with getting better and bringing championship football back to Pittsburgh. But hey, before we dive into this mess of a Rodgers rumor and the rookie minicamp fallout, do me one quick favor, smash that like button to support the channel, and if you bleed black and gold like we do here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single update this offseason. We're building something special here. Let's get into it. Let's just get this one out of the way, because Steelers Twitter was going absolutely nuts this weekend. There was a wild rumor floating around, and I mean truly bizarre, that Aaron Rodgers had joined the Nevillewood Country Club, right outside of Pittsburgh. Now, if that were true, it would have been a massive sign that Rodgers was gearing up to sign with the Steelers, right? Athletes don't just go joining country clubs in cities they're not planning to live in. Or so we thought. But unfortunately, that rumor was totally bogus. CBS's Rich Walsh went straight to the source and shut it down in record time. Here's what he tweeted. "This rumor is not true. I just spoke with the club at Nevillewood president Wayne Chiorazzi, who said Aaron Rodgers did not join. The club would love to have him if he does sign with the Steelers. And there it is. Look, it's easy to get excited when you hear whispers like this. We're desperate for signs. We're all waiting on Rodgers because the Steelers haven't made a move at quarterback since the draft, and time is running out. But this latest update was nothing more than a bad game of telephone on social media. It's not real. It's not credible. And the organization hasn't changed its stance. Now let's talk about what actually is true. Aaron Rodgers is still a free agent. He hasn't retired, he hasn't signed. And according to multiple insiders, the Steelers are still in pursuit. There's still a belief that Rodgers is open to playing one final season, a farewell run in black and gold. He even visited the team earlier this offseason and left the door open. But as the weeks go by and OTAs get closer, that door, it's not closed, but it's not wide open anymore either. Rodgers has said he's dealing with things away from football, personal priorities, outside interests, maybe even recovering mentally and physically. That's fair. The guy's 41 years old. He doesn't move like he used to. This isn't Madden. He's earned the right to be deliberate. But you know what he hasn't earned? A media circus built on lies and random rumors. Let's be real. Rodgers isn't giving any clues to talk show hosts or Twitter insiders. That's not how he operates. If we hear anything about his decision, it's probably going to come from one place. The Pat McAfee Show on ESPN. Rodgers loves McAfee. It's his comfort zone. His announcement, if and when it comes, will probably hit during a random Tuesday show with no warning. That's how he rolls. So to all of Steelers Nation, don't fall for fake news. Don't let clout chasers on social media get in your head. We'll know when it's real, and it won't come from a golf club registry. Now let's shift gears to what actually did happen this weekend, and this is the part fans should be excited about. Following rookie minicamp, the Steelers announced a series of roster moves to continue reshaping the bottom half of the squad. Signed, RB Trey Sermon, as previously reported, RB Max Hurleman OT Gareth Warren. Released, RB Aaron Shamklin. Let's break this down. We already covered Trey Sermon in our last video. Third-round pick in 2021. Power runner. Looked good in a tryout and earned a one-year deal. He's fighting for that RB3 or RB4 spot, especially with Cordarrelle Patterson struggling. Now, Max Hurleman is a name most of you probably haven't heard, but don't sleep on him. He started his college career at Colgate, then transferred to Notre Dame for the 2024 season. He didn't do much in the backfield, but where he did stand out was on special teams. In one season, he returned 23 punts and recorded 13 tackles. That's versatility. And if there's one thing Mike Tomlin loves, it's players who can contribute in multiple phases. Same goes for Gareth Warren, the big offensive tackle out of Lindenwood. Small school kid, but don't be fooled. He's a 3-time all-conference selection who played both left tackle and left guard. He even got an invite to the East-West Shrine Bowl. That shows you the scouts believe he's got pro upside. And finally, Aaron Shamklin, the man out. He was with the team on and off last year, played in 3 games, got a few carries, and logged some special teams snaps. But with Sermon and Hurleman coming in, the Steelers felt it was time to move on. Here's the big picture. The Steelers are keeping things fluid. They know the roster isn't finalized. They're testing players, building depth, and keeping the door open for a major quarterback move. Whether or not Rodgers joins this team is still an open question, but Pittsburgh isn't sitting around twiddling its thumbs. They're building out the roster from the bottom up. That's how strong franchises operate. And if Rodgers eventually gives the green light, you better believe this coaching staff wants to have the best supporting cast possible already in place. When the Steelers moved off George Pickens, fans were stunned, and understandably so. This is a guy with elite-level talent, highlight reel catches, and the kind of WR1 ceiling that teams dream about. You don't trade that kind of guy before his rookie contract is even up unless something serious is going on behind the curtain. Well, now the curtain's been pulled back, and what we're seeing explains a lot. It was getting ugly. Mark Kaboly reveals the locker room. Rift Steelers insider. Mark Kaboly didn't mince words during his appearance on the Pat McAfee show this week. When asked about Pickens and why the team made the decision to move him, here's what he said. "I think it needed to be done," Kaboly said. "I think it was getting really ugly behind the scenes there. And I think some of the players of veterans' leadership weren't too thrilled with George. I think that pushed it to the edge. Let that sink in. Veteran leaders, we're talking guys like T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, the heartbeat of this locker room, were tired of George Pickens' act." Think about that for a second. We're not talking about rookies or practice squad players here. We're talking about the core of the Steelers' leadership. Guys who've seen it all, battled through it all, finally saying, enough is enough. Imagine the stuff you're not hearing. And this is the part that should really raise eyebrows. Kaboly went on to say, if you're hearing Pickens' antics that people are saying, imagine the stuff that you're not hearing. I think there's a lot of stuff we still don't know. After all this went through, saying, oh geez, if you would have known this, the trade would have made a ton of sense. That's coming straight from a guy who's been inside that building. So, what are we not hearing? Maybe it's missed meetings, confrontations, poor attitude in practice. Maybe it's his demeanor. Maybe it's how he responded to coaches or fellow teammates. Whatever it was bad enough to fracture the locker room. Sources confirm Pickens created dysfunction inside the building, and Kaboly's comments aren't the only thing backing this up. According to A to Z Sports, sources close to the team say that George Pickens' presence alone was creating dysfunction inside the building. That's not just a personality clash. That's toxic behavior, the kind that kills team chemistry and morale. The report specifically called out his routine actions and the demeanor in which Pickens carried himself. So this wasn't just about what he said on the sideline. This wasn't about pouting after a missed target. This was habitual behavior, and the team had seen enough. Production isn't always enough to save you. Now here's the part that gets interesting and brutal. Let's be real. In the NFL, talent gets you chances. A lot of them. And George Pickens, the dude produced over 1,000 yards, circus catches, and flashes of absolute brilliance. Most teams and most players will put up with a whole lot of nonsense if the guy's putting up numbers. So the fact that the leaders in the locker room still wanted him gone, that says a lot. It means whatever he was doing crossed a line where performance no longer excused the attitude. And maybe the rest of the team saw something we didn't, a guy who wasn't bought in. A guy who wasn't accountable. A guy who made it about himself more than the team. And if you're building a championship culture, that's a cancer you can't afford to ignore. What if the breaking point was with Watt or Minka? Let's dig deeper. What if the final straw was a personal conflict with one of the cornerstones of this team? Kaboli didn't name names, but he strongly implied that some major veteran voices in that locker room had enough. If George Pickens clashed with Cam Hayward, the emotional leader, if he disrespected Minka Fitzpatrick, the tone setter, in that secondary, or worse, if he rubbed TJ Watt the wrong way, the face of the franchise, then yeah, there's no way the Steelers were keeping him around. Because when you force your top dogs to choose between talent and culture, they'll choose culture every time. All right, Steelers family, let's wrap this one up. Aaron Rodgers is not a member of any country club in Pittsburgh. Don't fall for the fake rumors. The Steelers are still hopeful, but the longer he waits, the less likely a deal becomes. Meanwhile, they're grinding, making smart roster moves, bringing in special teams talent, and building for the long haul. So here's the big question for you. Do you still want Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, or is it time to move on and give the reins to Mason Rudolph or Will Howard? And of the new signees, Trey Sermon, Max Hurleman, Gareth Warren, who do you think has the best chance of making the final 53? Let's talk about it in the comments. I'll be reading and replying, so don't be shy. And hey, if you're still watching right now, you're a real one. Be sure to smash that like button to help more Steelers fans see this video. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. This off-season's just heating up and we've got plenty more to cover. Until next time, keep waving those terrible towels, and as always, here we go, Steelers.